I'm sorry. There's like a maximum recording allowed on my phone right now for some reason, so it cut me off and I had to start over. Treatment is not consequence free, and you need to discuss and find your own balance and what you are okay, because it's a trade-off. Treatment is a trade-off. Almost any medication is going to have a laundry list of side effects, and there is always the possibility of some pretty severe side effects. So treatment is a trade-off. How much am I suffering? How much can I function? And how much of a benefit does that treatment give me in those aspects? Like, how much does it change and help that? But then I also have to look at and list what comes with that. What is the trade-off? I am in less pain this morning. I'm in still quite an amount of pain. Like, it feels the entire body is bruised, the skin, like, can't even touch me. Just the weight of my little, like, desk board thing here hurts. The weight of my shoulder laying on a pillow hurts. However, I have not taken extra pain meds this morning because I'm already suffering the side effects from it last night. And I am currently alone and need to care for my child. So I will suffer this amount of pain because I can still somewhat move and function and tolerate it, so that I don't increase the side effects that make me unsafe and unable to care for myself or my child or my dogs without supervision. That's my trade-off right now. And a lot of times the trade-off is I'm just going to suffer unless somebody else, a responsible adult or somebody, is home that can then basically babysit all of us, including me. Because there are days where even suffering without, taking those extra in the treatment plan with the EDS and the fibromyalgia and that brain fog and the confusion, it's like caring for somebody who's developing Alzheimer's or dementia. And it can be very scary and it can be very difficult for whoever's trying to help you. But some of the medications and some of the treatment options do the same thing. My mind is somewhat okay, like I can form a complete sentence, I think, and I know where I am and who everybody is, and I can identify current needs and safety risks that need to be taken care of so that I can then address them. I have to write it down immediately. But then they can be addressed in case I forget or my mind gets worse throughout the day today. But the point is, it's a trade-off. And I know that these videos are kind of crazy right now because I'm not all there. But I just want to say it's important for people to know who are suffering like this. And not only those of us that have these conditions, but those of us that work with us, those that are friends with us, our neighbors, our family. They need to understand that we are doing our best to find our balances and our trade-off between what we suffer and how we treat it, because there's a consequence. Even when you get used to the side effects, there is still some amount of long-term, while you're taking it at least, change or damage, depending on the medication, that is happening to your body. That is the point of medication. It changes things. But some of them destroy your liver. Some can have permanent effects and changes to your brain and how it works. And sometimes that's what we were going for because that's what we needed. But there's also other changes that maybe we didn't want. So this is not only for those of us that are dealing with these things ourselves. You're not alone, and a little bit of, hey, suffer together. But it's also for those that just know us and work with us. And if you come across these blogs and stuff, I hope that some of this brings you a little bit more understanding and maybe some compassion and empathy if you know people or come across people like me and my son, because some of this is genetic. And I've got a 5-year-old who already suffers a lot of this. And people don't understand because he's a healthy young child that's very active. Very active. And then all of a sudden, this stuff takes over. And he suffers. And nobody understands it. He's been in the same daycare since he was 18 months old. So they get it. Like, I have worked so hard with them and so closely, and they're so supportive, but he's aging out and supposed to go to kindergarten in a new school in a new state. Kids don't understand. Teachers and adults can often struggle to understand. And I am afraid for him. And I'm always afraid for me, and that these things, like, I am afraid to make these videos and do these channels and stuff because I'm afraid somebody's gonna be like, you know what? He's not safe in the home with her. You know, somebody needs to call child services. Somebody needs to get involved and make sure. And I'm afraid of losing my child. I spent the first several years of my child's life with no help and no treatment and just completely suffering and not letting anybody outside know if I could help it because I was afraid of losing my child. I've worked very hard with my doctors on all of these treatment plans and safety plans. I have to have safety and security plans in place because of all of this. And I have an entire network. When I move to California, I don't know what I'm going to do. But our neighbor is very aware of everything and available anytime they're home to help. And they take him constantly. And they're aware of his issues. And they're very understanding. And they work with us. In an emergency, got it. But if they're not home, another neighbor on the corner who homeschools and is a homemaker, a mom at home all day, unless they're like running an errand or going to the grocery store or going to the park, she's always home. If there's an emergency, we can call them. My son has their numbers on his watch, or he can run to the corner and get help. I get check-ins from my family all day. I have security cameras all over the inside of my house so that my husband and my family can kind of just do a quick check and see that I'm okay if I'm unable to reach my phone and I fall. They can see me and then they can get help. And so we've had to do so much stuff that's kind of crazy and we would prefer not to do. But that is what is necessary to create a safe and comfortable environment for my son and to give him the security and support he needs. And for those of you that are parents that suffer with this, I get it. And there are adaptations to almost anything, but it takes a lot to think outside the box and discover some of those. So please, once I figure out how to do all this technology-wise, leave a comment. We're a community. Ask for help on ideas on what you can do to make your home or your environment or your situation better or safer for those that depend on you. And talk to your doctors. It's terrifying. You might lose them. But talk to your doctors. Talk to your family. Make those plans. Create that support network. And that's almost the safety net. If CPS does come calling, I have this whole freaking plan. I have safety plans. I have security plans. I have support plans. I have health plans for him and for myself. And I've had to teach my 5-year-old some safety and medical and emergency stuff that, maybe you normally wouldn't have to. But if CPS knocks on my door today, I need help because my brain's not working today, but I have plans. And yeah, it's scary. They could still decide, you know what? I don't. But we have contingencies for that. And it's hard and stressful living with that fear every day. But you're not alone. And even with that fear, you need to, for the safety and security of those that depend on you and for you, need to kind of take some of those risks, maybe one person at a time, and create those safety plans and those security plans. And do what you can within your ability and be honest about what your limits are. Even though, like, that makes no sense. You're perfectly, yeah, whatever. Be honest. Keep records, whether it's phone, written down, audio, video. Prepare. For people like us, life is all about adapting and preparing. And I have found that that is basically the only way that I can not only have a decent quality of life for myself, but have a chance to provide that for my son. And it also helps when you do this, when you take that risk and you face that fear and that pride that so many of us have, that I can do this. How dare I have to ask somebody for help? How dare I admit my weakness? You have to work through that, climb that wall, one person at a time, one support network at a time, for the benefit and the betterment of those who depend on you, your family and friends, so they can understand and support you better and more effectively, and for yourself. And the bottom line in all of it is communication. And that is the most difficult skill, I think, for everybody in every situation. But that is the only way. You have to find a way, however your brain is functioning, you have to find a way to communicate. And have plans for, I can't communicate well. I'm not able to. My brain is so fried I can't, but they need to know ahead of time that that's possible. They need to know ahead of time what that kind of looks like. They need to know ahead of time so that they can adapt and maybe help you with your communication to then be able to say, yes, my brain is having, you've got to communicate and prepare. And it is really, really hard on us. I get it. The pride, the guilt, the fear, the insecurity, the the judgment that we may face when we start this. I have faced so much judgment, not only from those I don't know and strangers, but my doctors and teachers and my support network itself, my own family. But it wasn't until I improved my communication when it was really to get across to them, able to really communicate effectively what I'm experiencing before. And then they don't judge. They understand. They're like, oh, okay. They just didn't get it. They just didn't understand because the message was not coming across effectively. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these videos. I'm probably going to try and edit and cut them up and clip them into different maybe subjects or something, because I know I'm rambling all over the place. But these are the things that come up in my brain that I'm terrified and paranoid about when I have these bad days. These are the things that come up and I'm like, I can't care for myself and I can't care for my child and all of these other things, and they rush in and overwhelm you when you already can't function and you already can't think and you already can't, So part of this is me having an outlet right now to be able to express it so that I can reduce some of that stress and anxiety and some of those levels in my body to hopefully improve my symptoms a bit today and make me a little more functional. But also for the benefit of people who suffer like this for me and for those who may know people. I really do hope that people see this stuff and it helps them understand a little bit, or have some compassion or empathy, or maybe look at how they're judging and maybe kind of reevaluate that, or do some research, or maybe talk to the people that you've met that maybe have these issues, and let them know that you would like to understand and support it. But you're not alone. And for those who don't suffer these things that may come across this, there are more people than you know. I can almost guarantee you know at least somebody who suffers a chronic health issue that has such huge effects on their lives, and you may have no idea because we become masters at hiding it to protect ourselves. And maybe increase your situational awareness around you and pay attention. And if you notice a little something here and there about somebody, maybe look at maybe adapting, maybe offering a little bit different. Maybe just talk to them and say, hey, I noticed this. Are you okay? But communicate and be compassionate to yourself as well. For those that suffer with like this, self-compassion is key, and it makes a huge difference. But my time is running out again, so thank you for listening to my rambling, and I'll talk to you